Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you so much for joining me again today for another card making video. This one is for the Inspire Create Challenges design team. We're working with a sketch this time. My more photos of my card will be over on my blog, which is linked in the description. And from the description you can also go to the actual challenge blog as well, and then you can see everybody else's makes using the same sketch idea. Okay, so I'm going to be using one of the last chance stamp sets and coordinating dies. Most of the dies are off because I'm using them, but this is a last chance item, so it's a case of get it while you can, while stocks last. But this one is super fun because you can make up your beautiful cakes with frosting and icing and all sorts of things, and you've got the cute florals as well. I'm just using the word celebrate, but that could easily be wedding day or whatever, so and then you could coordinate it with the bridal colours and things like that. So really great set, worth having a look at if you haven't got it already. Can't remember if it's been reduced or not, but it's in the last chance store or last chance section of the online store. All the links will be to everything will be listed, and I'm using some designer series papers as well today. So those of you who watch regularly know I don't use a lot of designer series paper, but for this sketch I do have a bit, a couple of packets that kind of particularly sort of float my boat kind of thing. So what I did get, I got this set, and I'm trying to rack my brains as to what it's called now. The actual scrapbooking kit that it comes with is on a last chance, but the designer series paper and sticker sheets are still available as a separate item. So if you want the whole kit and caboodle, that's available as a last chance, but like I say, you can get these. And I love the colours. I think it's called Happiness. Anyway, something to do with happiness. The links will be in the description. But it's cool. It's got Lost Lagoon in it, and it's got wild wheat in it. Now, wild wheat is technically a retired colour. Wild wheat. Okay. And you can also get the wild wheat two-tone cardstock in the storybook Storybook Life, whatever it is, the 12x12 paper pack that goes with that collection. So you can still get it, and you can also still get boho blue in there as well. So I had some two-tone cardstock bits and pieces as well, so I'm bringing in my wild wheat because I love it. And these are the two designer series papers that I use. So this one's got like this sort of wash on it with the Lost Lagoon and the wild wheat, and the reverse has got this pattern on it. So I used that side, and then I used the opposite side to do this, and then this strip in the middle is actually the reverse of this paper. But of course we're going to mix it up again, so because I like to do something different. So the colourways aren't going to change too much, but what I use in terms of the patterns and stuff is. Okay, so this is what we're aiming for. Cool, huh? Cool, huh? So the sketch features a banner, this sort of triple layout thing, sentiment there, and summit over here. And I've chosen to use a cake. Could be a flower shape, whatever. So yeah, it's a cool layout, and I'm actually really pleased with the result. Did wonder what I was going to do, but I'm cool with it. Rightio. So I think right, I've brought in, there's quite a bit of die cutting to do, because I love die cutting. So I've tried to minimise it a little bit by already doing a couple of bits and pieces all ahead of time. So I've already got a set of leaves. I've already cut out the banners out of the double-sided wild wheat cardstock. There's a bit of icing, some scraps to die cut on. I need to die cut on that. Already cut a couple of these strips as well off the designer series paper. Now originally I was going to sort of flip it all around and use the gingham as the little skinny strip, but I think I'm going to end up using this bit. But I've got two of them and they are 1/2 inch wide by 3 7/8. Got a little skinny offcut which is about 1/4 inch just to enhance the sentiment. That's to stamp the sentiment on. Excuse me. Ew. And then we've got a piece of gold foil, look at that, shimmer shimmer, to put on the background. So this is a full layer, so it's 4 by 5 3/4. You could do all your die cutting onto that and cover it with the paper, just keep it to one edge because you're going to sort of see bits on the left hand side. So you could do that and save some of your you know, your scraps and things. Okay, we could do that just so that you can see what I mean. So that's fine. So let's do that. We need to cut some frosting. So the frosting comes in a double die cut like that. And we need the cake stand. And it's sort of little, it's got like 2 pieces, the cake stand. So you can layer up this little extra little bit. I don't think it's entirely necessary, but it's there to use. So we'll pop that in there. And that's our gold pieces that we need to do. So we could run those through. Okay. So that's going to cut out some of those accent pieces that we've got going on there. So we'll quickly put those through. And then we'll have those pieces done. So there's a lot of die cutting, but you know, when you're doing multiple pieces at once, it does go quite quickly. So now I've got 3 pieces of frosting that I need. Okay, and I've got my cake stand. Be good in silver, wouldn't it, with depending on the colour of everything that you're doing. There's the other little bit that we need to do, and that's still going to be my background layer that we're going to put on there. We'll pop that to one side just for the moment. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. We also need to cut out the cake pieces. So even though it's a triple tier cake, there are 2 dies that cut out the cake layers. These could easily be just hand trimmed rectangles to adjust the size or whatever that you want, but on this occasion we are just going for well, I'll show you how we're going to solve that problem. Okay, and then what we'll also do at the same time is we'll stamp some leaves. I've already got these mounted up and I'm using the Lost Lagoon, and we'll pop that onto this little scrappy bit of paper, cardstock. That's basic white. So we'll just move that out of the way. Oh, actually, while I've got the ink pad out, let's stamp the sentiment. Just this nice little scripty celebrate. Like I say, you could use anything you like, but I like to just sort of use the things that are in one stamp set where I can, so you can see how everything sort of fits together. And we'll fussy cut that later. So because I'd already done some of the stamping and the die cutting with the sample, I know that these dies, because I've taped them together like this, are going to line up over that those double mounted images. So that's a bit of a time saver. Rather than positioning each one individually, you can tape them like this. As long as they don't overlap each other, that's going to be totally fine. And don't forget, you can maximise your cutting plate as well, so get as many things on there as possible. And you know what, if we cut away some of that excess, that'll make that even easier. And then anything that's got a straight edge like this, if you can send it through on the wonk, it's a more efficient way to use that, I think. Rather than having the rollers hit a flat edge, it's of your machine, that is, then it goes through even easier. Okay, and then you'll need another cutting plate on top, so you need 3. Sandwich your dies and your cardstock between 2 number 3 plates. Number 1 is always in place, number 2 is for die cutting, and then we'll pop those through there. Is that all the die cutting? I think it might be. Okay. Ooh. So we've got all these dies, put those on the little magnet out of the way. Oh, I need one more layer. So I've got 2 cake layers, but I actually need an extra one. Where did I just put that? There it is. So I'm using that small die again, and we'll cut another one of them. And there's our leaves. And that's going to be the top layer of our cake. Okay, it's got 3 cake layers, all the icing, cake stand, leaves, flags, sentiments cut, stamped. Okay, I think I might fussy cut my sentiment next and get that done. So we're going to use our nice sharp stamping snips, paper snips. So again, this is just so that just adds another little element to it. So the paper snips are really nice and sharp, and they cut all the way to the tip, so they're excellent for fussy cutting. So if I'm doing anything that's sort of sticky or anything like that, I use some other scissors that are just, you know, just regular small sort of hobby scissors. And I've got some big sharp sort of kitchen style scissors that I keep specifically for ribbon. Ooh, almost got a bit too close then. And I keep my really sharp paper snips for fussy cutting. Okay, so just twizzling the cardstock rather than the blade. Letting the other side down today, guys. Normally that's quite careful with my fussy cutting, but this today it's a little bit off. It's fine. It will do the job. There we go. Right, there's our lovely little sentiment ready as well. So let's pop those away. Okay, I'm going to bring in a silicone craft sheet because we've got some bits that we need to sort of get stuck down and things. So the first thing, this little teeny tiny strip of gold that we've got here, that's going to be for our sentiment. So I'm going to be using liquid glue for this. It's going on this non-porous foil cardstock, so this is going to be better for that. I'll lift that up carefully and just, oops, pop that on. Okay, and that's obviously going to need to dry. Our little cake stand has got this extra little finial bit just to add a little bit of interest to it. So again, just a little bit of glue, not too much. You don't want it to squidge out, especially on foil cardstock, because it will mark it. You can rub it away, but you can sort of take the shine off your cardstock if you do that. So those guys are sat there like that, and then the little cake layers, before I add the very decadent gold frosting, just using a brush with some residual ink on it. I haven't even re-inked it, I'm using whatever's on there. Okay, I don't even know what colour it was, but I'm just going to go around the edges of that. If you've got a wild wheat ink pad, you could do that. But that's just going to make it sort of pop out and not look so stark white. Okay, even though, you know, it is sort of a wedding cake sort of style, which generally are white. And then we've got our 3 little bits of frosting that we need to put on. So I'm going to go and put a little teeny bit, again just a teeny bit of glue across those long edges on this one. So there's a sort of long piece that will fit this section there, and then there's a small piece that fits this section, and then the other one we'll just cut down, and we'll put it along the short edge and trim that later, basically. And then you can use a different portion of it. You don't have to stick with, just realised I'm probably floating off the thing there. Right, those are going to be a bit curled up, so I'm going to pop them to one side, and I'm going to pop excuse me, I'm going to pop some acrylic blocks on those. Let's just move slightly as I put it on, so just need to be mindful of that. Okay, so we'll leave that to dry. We'll just slide that over there, out the way. And the other thing that we need to get glued up, I've got multiple silicone mats, are our little banners. So I've done, I don't know whether you can tell that those are the dark on the light side of those. Yeah. Okay, so first thing, I want to do a little bit of a score line, so I'm just going to use a ruler and a ball tool. These are the stylus from the Simply Scored, and I just want to make a score line so that I can fold this over the baker's twine that I'm going to use. So I'm just going to line that up and score that. Hopefully roughly in the same place. What I'm using, the little lines on the ruler, the measurement lines, to sort of give me a reference point as to how far in that score line is going to be. Could totally do this on your Simply Scored if you wanted to, but they're such tiny little pieces. You could also do it on your trimmer. Again, they're so tiny. You'd have a job holding on to them. So a ruler and a ball tool will do the job just fine. Okay, and obviously that means that we've got these nice little hooks, if you like, for the baker's twine to sit on or in. I'll just flip that over slightly, and it also makes those look a bit more like a traditional banner, party banner shape, if you know what I mean. They're a bit long as they are, but doing that makes them look a little bit more more of the right shape, if you know what I mean. I hope that makes sense. Right, so we're going to need to line these up. This is the way I found worked. So line them up, space them out the way you want them, bearing in mind they're going across the corner of your card, so you don't want them too spaced out, and hopefully they're reasonably the same size. I don't think I'm not bothered if they're not. And then again, some glue here that will do two things. It will secure the little flap over, but also secure the baker's twine. So I'm just using white baker's twine. This happens to be a roll of some old white stuff that I'm using up, but the essentials pack is available, which also contains white plus some other colours that we could use. But like I say, you want to use it what you want, what you've got. So string, twine, linen thread, all that kind of thing. So we're going to pop those in there. We're going to fold them over. Make sure it's all sort of lined up. Do you know, the second the camera goes on, that's it. It all goes to pot, you know. Because this worked like a dream when I wasn't filming it. And then again, want some blocks, so I used my H block. Or two to press those down, and we'll leave those to dry, and then we'll assemble the card when everything's all dried. Okay, so now everything's had a chance to dry, we will start constructing our card. So I haven't cut any of the designer series paper just yet, so I'll just grab my trimmer and we will start doing that. Okie dokie. So as I said before, I'll just move that out the way. As I said before, using different designer series paper this time round. Okay, so what I'm actually going to do is cut this. This has started out as 4 inches. I'm going to cut it to 5. Okay, and then we've got this nice big piece. That's still a full card layer that we can use. Okay. And then I'm going to lop off 1 inch off the end of that. So that's going to make this, actually, do you know what? I need it 3 7/8 of an inch first. Yeah, so let's just trim that down. Just easier to do it. You don't want to cut your whole bit to 3 7/8 because more than often than not, you're going to use it at 4. So trim off what you want and then cut down the width to what you want. Okay, recycling. So yeah, and then flip it over and lop off 1 inch. So I'm going to use this marker over here or line it up at 4, whichever is easier. Okay, so we've got our gingham piece that we're going to use on this side, and we've got this bit that we're going to use on that side. Okay, so it's going to look completely different. And then we can use either this offcut that's that might be nice actually, the fact that it's more of the wheat to balance it out a little bit, or we've got this which is a slightly darker shade to go through. I'm thinking maybe we use this bit just to carry through that lighter colour through to that left hand side. So basically you've got choices, flip and match it, and there's obviously, this is just 2 pieces of this pack of paper. There's all sorts of other designs. It's a really cute one with little flowers on. So pick something and that's your formula basically. So I've still got 2 decent pieces left to do something else with. Okay, so I reckon we're good with that. And then this is just this is a half inch strip at 3 7/8. Okay, so when we're going to stick things down like this, I'm going to flip them all over on the wrong side. I'm going to use my stamping seal because I love it. I mean, we could use the yeah, I mean, you could do this as well, couldn't you? You could do that. That would be cute actually, because then that would be okay, hold please, we're going to potentially change this. And then we've got lots of gold already, so I think the gold elements on top of this won't stand out as much. Do you see what I mean? Yeah, we're going to stick with the plan. But sometimes, you know, you can change it. Okay, now I just need to know which side is the short side. Yeah, it's that side. And we'll line that up just like we normally do. It's just that we haven't got the third side, so we'll just do it at this end and make sure that's lined up. Then I'm going to flip it around and do the end piece. A couple of strips of seal along that edge. And we'll line that up just like we would if it was a full panel. Okay, and that means all we need to do now is make sure that this bit ends up central in there. So if you muck up your spacing here, you could end up with something off at the other end. So do the ends first and then fill in the middle, and your spacing, even if you have to make it stretch a little bit, should be even, right? So I'm making that even now, right, without having to worry about the end piece not fitting. Hope that makes sense. Cool. Okay, right, we need to add our string banner on this before we stick it down. So here's my string banner, and we're going to add a dimensional onto the back of each of those little flags there. It just about fits on that bottom bit, not going over that folded over section. Okay, so we'll take those off. I'm sure the heat's made these a bit gooey. Okay, and then stuck my finger. Cool, super static today. And then you can literally drape these across, so the dimensionals won't stick straight away until you've kind of positioned them. So just drape it over, make sure it's sitting how you want it to sit. That looks like it will do. Then I'm just going to use a couple of bits of tape to secure those on the back. like so, and extra bit across the two for good measure. Okay, and then we can just snip off those excess pieces so they don't end up sticking out anywhere. And because we've got the bulk of that to string, I opted to pop that up, but I think we can get away with just some seal on this, but I'm going to put plenty on just to make sure that that's going to catch. Like so. So I wouldn't normally use that much, but sometimes you just need that extra bit of security with what you're sticking down. So again, just lining this up, 3 edges down, like so. Making sure that's nice and secure. Give it a really good firm press, and you'd never know that there were holes in that background piece. You never tell. Okay, so we'll just burnish that, reinforce that fold again. Okay, brilliant. So next up we need to construct our beautiful cake, so sort of in a similar vein to the way we did the layering on the to make sure we got all the spacing right. Just cutting off the excess bits of the frosting on this little skinny bit that's going to be our top layer. Just snip those off. We're going to make sure we've got our spacing right. So again, I'm going to pop on this one. So this top layer, I'm going to gradually increase the dimension on here. So this one's going on flat, but by flat I'm actually going to use glue dots, which aren't as flat as seal. If that makes any sense whatsoever. It's literally a fraction of a millimetre, but it's better than being completely flat. Okay, I'm not going to worry about this excess because we're going to do our next layer. So our cake base is going to go here. Now I've got the lines on this paper are going to give me an idea of where centre is. Okay, so just like we did before, I'm going to sort of make everything meet in the middle and manoeuvre as necessary. So that's flat. This layer is going to be popped up once, so I'm going to put, well, 2 dimensionals on there as a single layer. Okay, but our next layer is going to be double popped. So I'm going to pop my dimensionals on, lift the backs and put some more over the top. Okay, so a 3, the tiers get bigger, so they'll be, closer to you. Okay, so I'm trying to add that dimension, and then this guy, we're going to need the little teeny dimensionals on this one. Okay, now I'm going to get into the point where I'm finding tweezers are good for little teeny tiny things, so stop your hands from cramping. So these fit just nicely on here. So I'm pressing into the centre, lifts the edges so they're easy to take off, the back ends. Works with big ones as well if you have trouble with those. And again, this one I'm going to say is going to be the same pop-up as the bottom of the cake, because the cake stand is more often than not a similar diameter to the base of your cake. not a little bit more, but I don't want to do triple layer. I think that would be a bit too much. So again, just going to squish the middles of those and take those off. Okay. So what we could do is add some extra wriggle room by popping some blobs of multi-purpose glue on here, but I'm just going to go with it. So there's our stand with the double layers on. The next layer of our cake will sit just might have a wobbly, might have an off-centered cake, but hey ho, you know, you get where I'm coming from. And then this one, and it doesn't matter because these are all the layers are hiding each other at the bottom, so they're all going to space out beautifully. Okay, so now we've got this sort of stepped look to the card, as you would if there was lots of layers on that cake. So glue dots again to help us decorate our cake with these beautiful little leaves that we've got. So these are really cool when you want just to be able to stick things down nice and quickly with no fuss and bother. Even these little teeny tiny ones, you just press it, it lifts off the backing paper, and then you can pop that onto your card or whatever project you're making. Might not be a card, I'm a card maker, but you might not be. Okay, so that's decorated our cake beautifully, and we just need to add on our sentiment. I think my cake stand might be a bit wobbly, but you know what, we get these wibbly wobbly cakes sometimes, don't we? So we'll snip this at some kind of jaunty angle, not measuring it, not thinking too hard about it, just cut it off. And again, that will need some minis on the back because it's a nice skinny strip. So just a couple, just to secure that. Don't need to go balmy. Okay, and then we just need to finish that off with some embellishments. And on the original I actually added some Lost Lagoon, what do you call it, Stampin' blend marker to add some colour. I don't think I'm going to bother this time. I think I want that more of that sort of kind of cream colour. As it happens, these sort of reflect the colour that they're put on anyway. Get the 3 sizes, which makes me happy. So these will just draw our eye across the design. Okay, and that is it. So it's a bit more involved, this one, but isn't it cute? I love it. Okay, so there we are with the gingham and the wheat, and then this one had more of this sort of washed bit. I think I like this balance of the lagoon across the with the contrast strip, but you know, like I say, you know, your card your way, so you know, mix and match your papers, do what you need to do to make it yours. Just realised my banners are in the wrong order. I wanted them light dark, but I've only just noticed, so I don't know whether you actually noticed. Okay, that's it for today. Like I say, this is the Inspire Create Challenge for this couple of weeks. Do pop along to my blog post and the Inspire Create Challenges blog too, so that you can see what everyone else has made, see the sketch, throw some ideas down and upload your project so that we can all have a look at them, and we'll announce a winner. Well, Joe will, who runs the challenge. So that's it from me. Thanks ever so much for joining me for a bit more of a detail card today. Do stay safe, take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.